This is our art encounter. So I wanted to show you a couple things because when we talk about syntax, I was talking about that idea of when something works, it's perhaps the syntax, it's the symbols and how the symbols come together. And the next level is that we're going to look at is semantics, is how we garner the meaning from that, what it means when we see that. Now, I like to draw, I like to paint, and whenever I'm sketching, I like to do a series of things. I'm always looking for, not just one of something, but can I find something that just kind of works, a way of getting at work? And basically, what I'm looking at is I'm looking for a syntax. I'm looking for how I how I garner the symbols and bring the symbols together to create a kind of meaning. Okay, so let me show you. These are just some little books I've made of some of my drawings. Yeah, so I kind of like this. This is a company called Zeno, Z-N-O. Zeno will put together your, if you have 24 of something, they'll put them in this book with kind of these great kind of thick pages so that we can kind of look at that. But let me just pick one of these and let's look at one of these drawings here. If you're looking at this drawing close, what you're seeing is I wanted to kind of create a scribble so that it wasn't the most pristine drawing. It was just about letting the pen dance on the paper and just continually move and darken certain areas and kind of create a kind of magic in all of that feeling and all of that flow. Yeah. So once I happened upon maybe the first of the drawings, I then knew, oh, there's something there. There's something interesting about that. And I like that I didn't clean it up and I didn't redraw it perfectly, but then I could just continually keep going. So you could say these were an approach to a way of getting at the work. Yeah. And that's very different than, say, this approach. Because here you're looking at a different type and a different way of drawing. Yeah. It's a different approach. And I would say in terms of a language system, there is a different syntax to this and this. Yeah, completely different with that. And in this little book, I even have kinds of other examples. Let me see if I have. Yeah, here's two figures. Here's two figures that are drawn here. And you can even see in the materials in which that they're drawn that these are done with a kind of pencil, colored pencil, kind of Prismacolor pencil, that you get a sort of different feel to it. And so there's a different syntax. There's a different way of working where that is very different than this. What I think is fascinating to me about it is it's a syntax. What we're different in is the syntax. And you can even say these create a kind of different language system. Yeah. Now, this is a fun little book here. This is my little book of flamingos. I did this in 2018, and I sort of came up with 24 drawings. And these are fascinating because I never really drew the body of the flamingo. I just was fascinating. And could we create in this space here, this square, could we just have these necks that pop up and do these extraordinary kinds of things? And it was just kind of fun to do it also in these colors of coral and red and pink, the colors that flamingos come in. And you can see that even sometimes I get whimsical and say, oh, let's just, this one flamingo feels different than all the others, and what's wrong with that? Yeah. So there's a kind of language in this design and in the way these things kind of work. Yeah. There's I'm trying to find, there's one kind of fun picture that I always like, because you can't even tell. By the time you're leafing through it, you know it's a flamingo, but you can't tell it's here. This picture here is, there's no heads of flamingos. It's just these necks that just all go every type of way and intertwine. So again, much like a choreographer, there are times when students will find a piece of choreography and then they'll say, my next piece is a little similar to the last piece. And I always think that's a good thing, because what you're on is you're onto a kind of syntax. You're onto a way of getting at work, and that is unique, and you're creating a body of work. So it's not just one of something that worked, but you can make multiple ones that work. Yeah, and you're finding a language system that is, this piece is different than the other piece, but the language system is similar. It's using the same language, symbols, and tools to communicate. I think that's fantastic. So that's our kind of art encounter of looking at things. So if you look at work, think about that for choreography. What pieces worked for you? What's the syntax? Why does this piece work? Yeah, it's great.